family man. I see you how you blended your family together, and it's not easy. And that's what I want to ask you about. It's not.
T.I.'s son, King Harris, has been arrested after not appearing in court and some other things connected to his.
Tiny divorces T.I. after he disowns King Harris. That's the headline exploding across feeds. But is it fact or just the loudest rumor online right now? Today we're digging into exactly what people are claiming, what's actually confirmed, and how one chaotic night turned a family argument into a breaking news narrative. You'll hear the buzz, whispers that Tiny walked out, that paperwork is in play, that T.I. cut ties with his own son. You'll also see the receipts on record incidents, timeline checkpoints, and the most recent public signals from the couple themselves. No guessing, no fluff. Here's the setup. Fans say the breaking point came after King's 2024 run-in with the law. They point to the father-son fallout, the stadium argument that went viral, and a string of clips that made family life look like a live fire zone. From there, the story snowballed. T.I. washed his hands. Tiny filed. The house is split. But rumors travel faster than proof. And while the internet crowned its conclusion, the paper trail tells a more complicated story. So let's separate echo from evidence. We'll run the arrest timeline, track how the disowning narrative took off, and check the latest public moves from T.I. and Tiny. If there's a real split, it'll show up in filings and consistent distance, not just captions and commentary. By the end, you'll know what's verified, what's speculation, and why so many people are convinced this family is done even when the receipts say not so fast. First, the moment everything got louder. October 2024, one reckless exit from a gas station, and everything tilts. A BMW noses out, a patrol car is right there, and the stop is instant. The air is tense before the window's fully down. Officers say there's a telltale smell. They clock a holster at the waist. Then the name check digs up old baggage, a lingering warrant tied to past traffic trouble. Suddenly, this isn't a routine warning. It's a stacked situation. What made it explode wasn't just the charges, it was the contrast. Online, King plays loud and untouchable. In that moment, he's measured. Yes, sir. Trying not to make it worse. The internet read it two ways. Proof he's not the menace he posts, or proof the tough act is just an act.
Think I ain't spoke to my son. Think I ain't told my son, his mama, and his grandmamas. He's going to prison. Forget.
Either interpretation fed the same fire. Clips circulated, threads recycled every misstep, stitching them into a single story. He's spiraling and somebody failed him. That's how a traffic stop turned into a family referendum. Fans started connecting dots. 2022 blow-ups, 2023 stadium drama. The image of a kid raised with plenty but reaching for danger anyway. By the time the booking info made the rounds, the verdict online felt pre-written. And that momentum is exactly what powered the next claim. If the son won't listen, did the father finally draw a hard line? This is the headline that supercharged everything. T.I. disowned King. Where did it come from? Not from a court filing or a formal statement. This wave started with clipped live streams, reaction videos, and posts that stitched tense father-son moments into a single storyline. A sharp caption, a dramatic thumbnail, and suddenly he's cut off. Reads like a quote, even when nobody on record actually said it. Rumors suggest the call-out gained traction because it fit an existing script: tough love dad, rebellious son, fed-up household. One creator points to the stadium dust-up. Another cites a stern IG message. A third claims inside info without showing receipts. Stack enough suggestive moments together and it feels definitive. Until you ask, where's the direct confirmation? That's where the trail goes quiet. No verified statement, no legal notice that mirrors the internet's certainty. Still, the narrative stuck for a reason. People saw lines being drawn, public clashes, private consequences, and read them as permanent exile. Some viewers even argued it was necessary, framing a hard boundary as the only move left. Others called it abandonment, saying cutting off your kid, even temporarily, just pushes the chaos further. Both takes travel well online, nuance does not. Here's the reality check. Families can enforce boundaries without ending relationships. A parent can say, "Not under my roof," and still be in the picture tomorrow. It's messy, it's emotional, and it rarely plays out cleanly in public. So when you hear disowned, treat it as what it is right now, an unverified claim amplified by repetition. And that echo got even louder when the rumor took a new turn. If the father drew a hard line, did Tiny respond by walking out for good? That's the next piece people swear they've got figured out. This is where the story tries to level up. From dad drew a hard line to mom walked out. The claim spread fast because it's clean cause-effect finale.
I know you. I know you. I know you. Shut up. Shut up. I know you. Ain't no mystery about here. I know you though. I know you though. I know.
But when you trace it, most roads lead back to commentary clips, recycled sources, and eye-catching thumbnails rather than verifiable filings. The post read confident, the proof reads thin. Meanwhile, the public signals point the other way. As recently as late summer 2025, T.I. and Tiny marked 15 years of marriage with warm captions, shared moments abroad, and coverage that didn't hint at a split. Could a couple celebrate online and still be circling serious problems offline? Absolutely. But celebration on record versus divorce paperwork no one can produce isn't a close call. If the separation were official, you'd expect a court docket, a statement, or at least consistent distance, events solo, rings off, timeline scrubbed. Instead, the most recent mainstream-facing footprints show togetherness. So why does Tiny Left keep trending? History and emotion. People remember old turbulence, connect it to King's latest headlines, then fill the gaps with certainty. Add a few creators claiming insider tea, and the narrative feels inevitable, even if it's unverified. The smarter read right now, treat it as a circulating claim, not a confirmed reality. Watch the paper trail, not the echo chamber. And if the rumor still sticks, it's because it promises a villain and a verdict. But families aren't court dramas. They're negotiations that change day by day. Which raises the real question, if the marriage isn't officially over, what's actually happening inside the house as the noise gets louder? That's where perception, past baggage, and King's public image collide next. It isn't just the latest headline, it's the history people bring to it. This family grew up in front of cameras, which means private friction became public memory. Viewers remember the reality TV years, the IG lives, the onstage shoutouts, and of course the 2023 stadium blow-up where a father's silver spoon check collided with a son's "I made myself" stance. Once an audience sees that kind of clash, every new incident feels like episode 2. There's also the algorithm effect. Rumors suggest creators who frame the story as Tiny finally walked get better clicks than those who say unclear, still together. The internet rewards certainty, not nuance. Add in older headlines, past separations, reconciliations, outside accusations that came and went, and people start treating the couple like a cycle instead of a marriage. When history looks repetitive, speculation feels like déjà vu, even if the facts today don't match. Then there's King's image. He's been loud online, and loudness leaves echoes.
I said a while ago when T.I.'s son King was getting a lot of flack and a lot of heat in the media, that to me he just looked like a young kid that wanted to prove to his father that he was a man.
A Waffle House meltdown here, a stern dad video there, music video flexes, and now an arrest timeline that ties it all together. Fans connect dots across years, not days. And the easy conclusion becomes the parents lost control, the house split, case closed. It's simple, dramatic, and wrong often enough to matter. But families aren't thumbnails. Boundaries can look like banishment from the outside. Tough talks can look like humiliation on camera, and a quiet month can mean healing, not hiding. So yes, the breakup rumor sticks because it's tidy and familiar. The truth usually isn't either, which sets up the next question. Beyond narratives and nostalgia, what do the current receipts say about where things actually stand right now? Online, King is volume, big claims, bigger reactions. The persona sells, fast cars, tough talk, zero patience. But watch that 2024 stop frame by frame. The noise drops, he's measured, composed, yes sir, no grandstanding. Two versions of the same person, split by a dashboard cam. The internet read it both ways. Either he's not the menace he plays, or the persona is just armor that disappears when reality shows up. Either take fuels the same conclusion. The brand is louder than the boy. Growing up famous turns every moment into content. A clip from a diner meltdown, a sideline argument, a studio flex. Each one gets isolated, looped, and labeled. The algorithm doesn't care about context. It rewards escalation. So a messy night doesn't stay a lesson, it becomes a character trait. And once a character is set, audiences want consistency, more chaos, more outrage, more proof they were right about you from the start. There's also the legacy pressure. Being T.I. and Tiny's kid means standing in a shadow and a spotlight at the same time. Fans expect polish, haters expect failure. Every move is graded on a curve. Too soft and your industry babysat, too hard and you're performing struggle you didn't live. Either way, someone calls it fake. Reports and posts suggest King leaned into fatherhood recently, showing a softer side, nursery pics, I'm locked in, captions, music that reads like a letter. For some viewers, that hinted at growth. For others, it clashed with the outlaw image they'd already bought. That's the trap of a public persona. If you evolve, people call it PR. If you don't, they call it proof you'll never change. And when the comment section decides the story, nuance gets cut in the edit. Which brings us to what cuts through spin and speculation, the receipts. If the household really split, there should be something more concrete than captions and echoes. So let's line up what we can actually point to right now.
King. First off, the kid's a menace, right? He goes around. No, I'm serious. Yo, King, listen. King goes around terrorizing the community of Atlanta, bro. That's a fact, bro.
Public-facing signals from T.I. and Tiny in recent months have leaned toward togetherness, shared milestones, celebratory posts, and no widely reported court filings announcing a fresh split. That doesn't prove perfection behind the scenes, but it does undercut the idea of a finalized walkout that the internet keeps treating as settled. If there were a new divorce in motion, you'd expect the usual markers, docket numbers circulating, credible outlets confirming, consistent physical distance at appearances, or even quiet social media tells, rings gone, captions scrubbed, calendars suddenly separate. Instead, the clearest, most recent breadcrumbs show a couple still presenting as a unit. Now about the disowning. Families draw boundaries that outsiders love to label as exile. Not under my roof can mean grow up and regroup, not you're dead to me forever. Unless you can match the word disowned to a direct on-record statement, treat it as a narrative shortcut, not a documented fact. Same with Tiny filed. If someone says it, the next question is simple, where's the paper? Could things still be tense? Absolutely. You can celebrate an anniversary and still be arguing off camera. You can post a united front today and make a different decision tomorrow. But that's exactly why we separate buzz from receipts. Buzz is loud and fast. Receipts are quiet and stubborn. They sit there and either exist or they don't. Right now, the loudest claims outpace the quiet proof. So here's the working reality. Verifiable incidents, the 2024 stop and the 2023 stadium clash are real. The definitive Tiny left after a disowning storyline is still unverified. If that changes, it won't arrive as a dramatic thumbnail. It'll arrive as filings, statements, or sustained public distance. Until then, hold the headline loosely. And with that, the bigger question isn't just are they split? It's what the fallout means for everyone involved. How blame gets assigned, how grace gets extended, and whether a family can recalibrate under the brightest spotlight possible. This is where the comment section turns into a courtroom. One side says the parents built the bubble, then acted shocked when it popped. The other says King is grown enough to know better and chose chaos anyway. Both arguments feel neat. Real life isn't.
The dynamics here are interesting, but I can't judge how the parenting has gone, because everything that we've seen has been stuff that many of us would have said or similar if we saw our children do this. But I will say this, a lot of what's happening is because it's in the public. Like most children don't have to do this.
Parenting in public is a moving target. Protect today, push tomorrow, pull back when the boundary gets crossed. You can show tough love without abandoning your kid. You can also cross lines in the name of discipline and make things worse. Two truths can sit in the same room and argue. Zoom out. The family's history is layered: reality TV, music careers, old headlines, and a son figuring himself out under a magnifying glass. That's a rough lab for growth. If T.I. sounds harsher on camera, people call it humiliation. If Tiny shows patience, people call it enabling. And if King tries to pivot, new baby, new focus, critics call it PR. The internet loves verdicts. Families need time. So who failed? Maybe the better lens is responsibility. King's choices are his own. He's not a prop. He's a person with agency who made moves that carried real consequences. At the same time, parents set tone. What's praised, what's checked, what's allowed to slide because the schedule is crazy and the cameras are rolling. Boundaries that arrive late still matter, but late boundaries feel like punishment, not guidance. That's why the disowned narrative hits so hard. Even unverified, it reads like a final door slam. It makes the story simple. Exile the problem and the house goes quiet. But houses don't go quiet. They echo. Here's the uncomfortable middle. Growth can look like distance for a season. A couch disappears. A curfew turns into find your own key. Money gets tied to milestones, not moods. From the timeline's view, that reads as cold. From a parent's view, it reads as survival. Neither side is automatically right. What matters is whether those boundaries come with a bridge back, conditions, conversations, and a path that says, when you're ready, here's how we rebuild. And that's the real test for this story going forward. Not whether a rumor lands perfectly on a headline, but whether the people in it choose repair over performance. If there's an official split brewing, we'll see it. Paperwork, statements, consistent distance. If there isn't, expect quieter moves, counseling, tighter circles, fewer lives, more listening. Either way, the comments won't decide it. The next chapter will. Here's the bottom line. It's just a headline people are repeating, not a fact we can confirm. What's on record is a messy arrest in 2024, a father-son clash that went viral in 2023, and an anniversary celebration in 2025 that says, at minimum, this story isn't as simple as a clean break. Believe what you want, but check the source. The louder the buzz, the more you should ask for the docs. Family is complicated, growth is messy, and the truth usually walks in slower than a rumor. If you're still here, drop where you stand. Did the internet run too fast with this one, or do you think the smoke points to a fire off camera? Either way, we'll keep eyes on the filings, the posts, and the facts, not just the noise.